Let me tell you a couple things that I will be telling you later, so I won't be telling you later. I got a message from Karen Olish that Stan, our science guy, got out of rehab in his home and needing care for some time and needing meals. So if any of you are so inclined to make something, I'm going to ask Marguerite, who's not here today, so I'll put it on her. I'm going to ask Marguerite to be the conduit. If you would contact Marguerite that you have a meal, and she would contact Karen and make the plans for its getting to Stan. But he's home after a bout in the hospital and in rehab from a fall hurting his back, and he's on the mend, but he's not there yet. Stan Forrester. What else can I tell you? There's a congregational meeting today after the service, right, Bill? In the other room? Yep. I want Bill to know there's a congregational meeting today. No. I think that's all that I have for fill-in, and I hope we're ready to start.
Good morning and welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Church in Stuart, Florida. Today is February. Get closer? Is that better? Okay. 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 Let's see where I was. My name is Janet Rader, and I'll be your worship associate for today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds. It's wonderful to see all our vaccinated members in the sanctuary today, and we're also on YouTube. To be put on our email list, or to find out more information about us, go to our website at tcuuc.org. Note the email link to request our online newsletter. Please silence your cell phones if you haven't. If we have any visitors this morning, we would be delighted for you to come up to the microphone and tell us who you are and maybe where you're from. Do we have any visitors? Everybody is okay. You're.
This is Roberta, and we love her.
Yeah. Okay. Is this your first time, Roberta? Well, welcome. For a number of weeks, we have been printing what you may refer to as a bulletin, and it is on a small table when you enter the sanctuary. We're trying to eliminate a long list of announcements, so if you will pick that up and take that home with you, you will know, what is coming up this next week. We don't have our picnic this week, but first and third Tuesdays, that's a very popular event. And coming up, another popular event, Friday, March the 3rd at 5 to 7 p.m., John Mourns, Lucky, BAST, are returning, and so that was, very popular before. So the movie night that was scheduled for February 28th is canceled since we have that event coming up March the 3rd. That, of course, is in Heston Hall. A big thank you to those who have helped with the service, Jackie Robbins for the music, our greeters and ushers, our host, Karina Poloni, who, of course, is right back here, and our tech support, Rachel Valentino. Jackie Buckley is responsible for the coffee and cookies in the social hall after this service. Our Reverend Bob MacDonald is in the pulpit today. And now we will have the prelude. Thank you, Jackie. In addition to our UU7 principles, we have 6 sources. Now that was new to me. I look at the magazine that we get, and I think that was the last page of the UU World magazine. So these 6 sources, the second source is the following: words and deeds of prophetic people which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. As you know, we recently celebrated Martin Luther King Day. Certainly Dr. King is an example of a prophetic person the second source is speaking of. A theme is selected for the march each year, which was something that I was not aware of, and for the 2023 March, the theme that was chosen from over 220 submissions was the following: Together, we can be the dream. This theme was suggested by Chandra Hopkins Louse, a young woman who challenges us to take up the work of Dr. King. She wrote that the dream of Dr. King begins with wanting the nation to hold up to its creed, injustice and oppression to be transformed into an oasis. She reminds us that by voting and being active in our community, we can make a difference together to help make Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream a reality. Stand if you like to sing a hymn, 361, all 5 verses.
Rejoice and come in.
And now for our affirmation. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The responsive reading is number 659 in the back of the hymnal, these beautiful words by Walt Whitman. The sum of all known reverence I add up in you, whoever you are there for you. It is not you who are there for them. All architecture is what you do to it when you look up upon it. The sun and stars that float in the open air, the apple-shaped earth and we upon it, the endless pride and outstretching of people, unspeakable joys and sorrows. The wonder everyone sees in everyone else they see, and the wonders that fill each minute of time forever. It is for you, whoever you are. It is no farther from you than your hearing and sight are from you. It is hinted by nearest, commonest, readiest. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say they are not divine. I say they have all grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is not they who give the life. It is you who give the life. Will you seek afar off? You surely come back at last in things best known to you, finding the best or as good as the best. Happiness, knowledge, not in another place, but this place. Not for another hour, but this hour. Thank you, Walt Whitman. And now our time of sharing matters of joy and sorrow. We invite you to tell us what's on your mind and heart of that nature, joy or concern or sorrow. We ask that they be brief and that they be personal, and come to the mic and let us know who you are and what you're feeling and thinking. Regina, are you coming up? And the way it works now is that we give a stone to the person. We don't start yelling, stones.
This is a future joy. My hometown team, the Eagles, are going to win the Super Bowl tonight, and I want to congratulate them ahead of time.
I know that was heartfelt, Regina. Can somebody else share a matter personally and brief?
My name is Pam Corbin. What is today's date? What is today's date?
February 12th.
Thank you. And in 2 days, what happens? All right. This is the second anniversary of my breakup with my boyfriend, and he didn't think that holiday was important. He is now blocked. I have not spoken to him 2 years. All right? Just in case you think that it's not important, I've been with that person forever. It's important. Don't play with that holiday. Sorry, Bob, that was not personal.
It kind of sounded personal. Let's be quiet.
This is brief, but when we played the song Welcome, the Rejoicing.
And a rejoicing come in, yep.
It reminded me of Bertha, who was a beloved member of our church.
We remember her, Bertha Perez.
I'm just going to narrow this down to two people that I have in my heart, and that is a good friend of ours named Paula. She was walking in a gas station, and a drunk driver hit her, and so she lost her leg. And she's not doing well. So if you would just hold Paula in your thoughts. And also my good friend Gemma, who has a little girl, a granddaughter named Gemma. She's 4 years old, got diagnosed with leukemia. So we just see both of them in the light of the love that she is. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? And what is your name again?
David Blizzard. Okay, so this is a bit presumptuous, but this thing that has happened in Turkey and Syria is incredible. And I have a couple of Turkish friends and some Arab friends, no Kurdish friends. But if you have them, reach out. It may help some.
Yeah, thank you, David. The world is not so small. We look upon that disaster and wow. Anyone else? Then we always move a stone for people we haven't said out loud, but we all have people we think and worry about and care about. Now, the meditation is this brief one by W.E.B. Du Bois in the back of our hymnal. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work. And tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime. W.E.B. Du Bois. And now some moments of silence. And now, Spirit of Life will remain seated, will hum a verse, will sing a verse. Spirit of Life, 123. now is our morning offering. We hope everyone who comes here experiences joy and generosity, and we invite yours so that we can keep on keeping on. Where are my volunteer ushers? Oh, here they are. This morning is a special time because we are welcoming new members into our community. So those who are becoming officially signed in today, please come forward and bring your little slip with you. We're going to make you sing to us. No, recite something. Come on up here. These folks have become pretty active with us for some time. And I trust you'll get to know them. I'm going to send you all an email asking you to tell us some things about your past, and I'll put that in the newsletter so people can know where you're from, what you've done, things like that. But these are Kathy Atherton, who has been attending quite a bit. You live at what did you start out as?
I was raised Presbyterian and became Episcopalian.
Okay, it's a journey, and here you are. Jackie Buckley has been with us for a long time, and we put her to work right away, and it was a surprise that she's not a member yet. And now she is a member, and we're happy you are here. Where did you come from originally?
Massachusetts, from regional.
From the region. And Mary Ann Robertson has a really interesting background. What did you start out as?
As a Catholic. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
And can I say, I asked her if we should still call her sister because she was a nun for how long?
14 years.
14 years. Wow. And now you're married to this guy.
You don't have to use the title sister anymore.
Well, we're certainly glad you've been you before here, right?
Yes, really since about 1975 maybe. Yeah, I went
Terrific.
from listening to the sermons at the Catholic Church, and I brought a book with me because I couldn't handle it anymore. I changed.
Is there a book in the seat back here?
The hymnal's good.
And this is A.J. Weldon, who's a character. I've really enjoyed getting to know. Where did you start out, and what did you do while she was a nun?
Yeah, my name is AJ, as I said, and I started out as a Catholic, and the family came here when I was 3 years old from New York to Fort Lauderdale, where I County, and I really left the Catholic Church. I didn't really relate to it, and then I started kind of coming back in through a Lutheran church, which I thought was a Catholic mass. I was receiving communion, and I told, what didn't receive communion, I said to the Lutheran minister, I said, I'm not receiving communion because, you know, I haven't been to confession. And he said, this isn't a Catholic mass. So I trickled back into going to church and met Mary Ann, and she was a member of UU for many years, and so here I am today. So
We're glad you are. And this young lady is Gayla Crum. Tell us where you started and what you do now.
Well, I have a Catholic background as well and wanted to be a priest, but that doesn't work out very well. So My mom introduced me to Unity, and I became a Unity minister, and always had my roots in UU with the principles and the values that they represent. Felt like I was born to be an activist on some levels and be an advocate for sure. So I just fell in love with this place and felt like home. Everyone's so friendly, and that's what I was looking for.
Wow, we're
Yeah.
certainly glad you did.
Yes.
And what do you do for a living? I just want them to know that.
Yeah, I'm a hospice chaplain here in Martin County for all the facilities, all the nursing homes, 25 nursing homes in Martin County that I'm a chaplain for, so.
As you all know, when Bob meets new people, I have things in mind to ask them to do. So as soon
that
as I
motive.
learned this about Gayla, I said, you do sermons, right? So she signed up for one in May, and then a couple more in the next couple months when we take off. But we want to hear more about your work, and I'm certainly thrilled that you're here with us. And she's taking part in a number of activities, so we'll all get to know her, and that's terrific. So we have this ritual that will invite people to join in, and on the top is going to be their part, and then the bottom we all. All right, today we welcome into our community these new members who have chosen to make a commitment to this congregation by signing our membership book. All right, you're the new members, and this is your part. New members, we are so glad to have you here with us and that you have chosen this community of fellow seekers to travel with you on your life journeys. Will you accept our gift of fellowship, discovery, and service? Will you offer us your unique presence and gifts? Will you add your name to the long history of Unitarian Universalist women and men who spread hope with our living faith? Will you engage with us as we seek to create a community and a world dedicated to love and justice?
We will.
And now, congregation, will you welcome these new members with the warmth and comfort of your fellowship? Will you seek to add your strengths and talents to the new gifts they bring to us? Will you share our triumphs and our struggles as our community grows and changes?
We will.
Let us say together again the covenant of this church, the promise that we make each week to ourselves and to each other, and which holds our community together with common purpose and common love in the midst of our beautiful diversity of belief.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another.
Wow, certainly glad to have you join us here officially. Just sign your name in a row here, and then later you can come up and add your address, but we have it, we can add it too. Just, that's one of our good books. So just sign your name, and that's you're in this roll of life once you sign that. Now, Gayla is a minister, so ministers have a kind of special relationship. Truman, also a retired Moravian minister, but now active in UU here and up there. So it's really a treat for me to have ministers here. Yes, I try to put them to work. Truman is not comfortable doing sermons, he tells me, anywhere. So I said, what about Truman Talks? So he likes that. He's willing to do Truman Talks. Come on over and just sign, and we can get your address later. You can go ahead and just see it. or sister. What about sermons? No. We're glad to have her as she is.
That's why she's not one anymore.
Thanks. Okay, just thank you. That's great. Let's give them all another hand. Now some really special music.
Good morning, everyone. Pam is my really dear friend, and her name isn't on here, but you might remember Pam. We represent tradition, Port St. Lucie. John Morn is the guitarist. He's really good, and he's going to really help. He's going to be doing most of the work. But I want to tell you, we're going to sing, we're going to present to you Bob Marley's Redemption Song. And it is those of us with island backgrounds, and I don't know, Pam's just one island. My father's Bahamian and my mother's Bajan, so I got two islands, one on each shoulder. This is Redemption Song, and you will hear the meaning of it as we sing it.
And I want to thank Barney for inviting me to do this a couple of months ago. I said, I remember that song, but not real familiar with it, so I played it. And it represents what Janet was talking about earlier. He definitely was a spiritual person who made us think about things. And the song represents the sorrow and pain of the past, the hope for the future. And like all great songs, the music really reflects that. I think the music and lyrics just are wonderful together. Yeah. And you will be seeing me play lead guitar for the first time ever in my life, and I'm likely to mess it up, but it's a step in the right direction. So. Okay.
Okay. I'll be next. Can you see?
Yep, I can see, but we should be in front of the mic so people.
Closer to the mic, so singers, please. Singers move in.
Exactly to
That was great. Thank you.
We're excited.
Spiritual, yes. Religion, no. There is ample evidence that organized religion is in decline. The church history prof in my small West Virginia college opened his basic course with, "Christianity has just about died in Europe. Magnificent cathedrals rich in history, but mostly empty. Gatherings of prelates, bishops, and archbishops look like the Middle Ages on life support. And in America, we've tracked for some time the only growing denomination called the nuns, none of the above. The young are telling us today by their feet or their pillow that organized religion, the faith of their fathers and mothers, is way backburnered. Pew Research keeps reporting the decline of Christianity in America. Christians accounted for about 90% of the population 50 years ago, but as of 2020, that figure had slumped to about 64%. If the trend of disaffiliating continues, Christians could make up 35, 46 or so of the US population in 2070. And the younger the sampling, the greater the decline. The picture seemed very different just a few decades ago. A Methodist minister and author and friend, Dean Kelly, who worked for the Civil Liberties Legislation Division of the National Council of Churches, made quite a hit with a book in the 70s, Why the Conservative Churches Are Growing. At that time, he cited the Mormons, the Southern Baptists, and non-denominational evangelical startups that mushroomed, first in California, then everywhere, it seemed. He cited two main factors. The growing religious movements exacted a high commitment and offered a high reward. The commitment was a church-centered life, including tithing. The reward was twofold: certainty. You were right. You were the true believers who didn't question, how can we be the only ones right? And so you got the ultimate reward, afterlife. To some, like me, it seemed that religion had discovered or morphed into lottery fever. Be convinced you won or had discovered something really big, and you would have all of eternity enjoying your winnings. Now, I know I am missing something. You've probably known that for a long time. Lotteries are bigger. Billions, not measly millions. Who can make do on that? Aren't they just legal Ponzi schemes? Lotteries? And if you succeeded in one Ponzi for a while, you go to prison or to Congress. And evangelical startups are still mushrooming all around us. I'm sure I've told you that about 10 years ago, I attempted to start a Stewart Clergy Fellowship, once a month lunch. I've never been in a community that didn't have such a clergy congenial group that included rabbis and priests, or at least welcomed them. So few came, I gave up. Then the former rabbi, Jeff Goldwasser, tried it at the temple. At that meeting, one young evangelical youth minister attended from a new mega church in our area. That mega is MEGA. You remember that mega, right? And I said what I just said. And he let us know oh, there was a clergy lunch fellowship, but it was only for evangelical reverends. I don't get clergy wanting an echo fellowship only. What I do get is that people need spirituality. When the board here hired me the second time, the major thing most board members mentioned that I should try to address was, help us with spirituality. Imagine that, the board of a UU congregation, help us with spirituality. Of course, we were all in pandemic solitary at the time, and in solitary you discover your demons, certainly your fears, I did, and your angels. And in the last rounds of questions or themes, I solicited from you in my Q question coffee can. The clear winner again was, help us with spirituality. Now, we have had church shoppers who stood, introduced themselves, and told us they were looking for spirituality, but not organized religion. I wanted to respond impishly, we aren't that organized. Now, in my northern denomination before I retired, ditto. One man quit and told me he came for spiritual, but he got social. He didn't come for social. And the social he didn't come for was twofold. He didn't come to church to hear about government policies, and he didn't come to church to hear about social activities, coffee hours, potluck dinners, you know, the things not so way back when churches thought they couldn't live without. What in the world is spirituality? Religion starts out, for most people, as catechism and tradition. It's usually a hand-me-down from generations in your family tree. Literally, historically, the first catechism, which converts to Christianity had to memorize and recite, dates to 65 CE and was called the Didache, Greek Didache, a teaching tool or summary for Christian converts. It consisted of about 20 sayings of Jesus and the importance of baptism and communion. New members had to repeat it. Religion has always seemed big on things to repeat. But spirituality and rote, repeated things just don't go together for many. Many have told me they felt more spirituality in AA than in church. Now, I believe AA has some rote. I've heard some say the prayer that's attributed to Reinhold Niebuhr, help us to change the things we can change, accept the things we can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And some AA say the Lord's Prayer. A bride-to-be once in our prep meeting told me no Lord's Prayer in her wedding. She didn't want her wedding to sound like an AA meeting. Come on, do repeated rote things really cancel out spirituality? I hope not. We use repeat. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. Learned lines are supposed to be where we start, not where we end up. Sometimes you want to pray. You can always bow your head and be quiet. I could do a lot more of that. If your life is crying out for help, for God's sake, cry out for help. Some other human might hear you and respond, "Can I do something?" You might get an idea of what more you can do, like that, "Help me to change the things I can change." The idea isn't you might hear a faraway voice telling you what you had better change. The idea is you might hear a much closer voice reminding you what you really know. The issue is, what is spirituality? Where is it? How do you get there? How does it awaken in you and me? The issue is not so much location, where it's at, but attention. Am I paying attention? The spiritual giants of the ages pointed within. Jesus, a good Jew, said, "People say the kingdom of God is somewhere else. Know ye not that the kingdom of God is within you?" Or as a friend of mine signs off his emails, "The Zen you seek at the top of the mountain is the one you bring up with you." To me, the issue is spirituality and community. Community. Doesn't that mean being around people? Early Christians tried to find spiritual fullness, wholeness, by going into the desert alone or into small caves. I'm planning a couple of sermons in March on what dirt taught me. What dirt taught me. The first will be digging in Israel, very amateur archaeology. Overlooking the Sea of Galilee, or Lake Tiberias, is a hill called the Cliffs of Arbel. They have a lot of holes or caves where men went to find holy. We were told that had to end because seeking holy alone often led to insanity. So solitary monasticism gave way to community monasticism, where brothers and sisters, usually separately, pursued holy orders and lives of service and gave each other support and guidance. Several monastic orders have become paragons of excellence for education and social service. I have to hope that communities like ours can and do encourage us to find our own wells and wellness. If we try to define spirituality, you know we all define it differently. We are you. We don't agree on much. I remember the discussion about what to call ourselves for advertising, attracting new residents. Several said, "Not church," too much negative baggage. Others said, "But people are less likely to Google UU congregation or UU society or fellowship." How would we billboard ourselves? We agree to disagree. We like to question. We thought of putting out there, "Bring us your answers and we will help you question them." Who could pass on that? As Karen said well here 2 weeks ago, whatever our actions or opinions, and I would add whatever our spirituality, we want to be standing on the side of love. That's how our biggest group and community, the UUA, tries to guide us. A couple years ago, Lynn gave me a t-shirt that said, "Cat Herder." I think she said she got it at the UUA General Assembly, Cat Herder. Most of the new people here tell me They are looking for a community of like-minded people. What does like-minded mean? You want to suggest a synonym? What you mean by like-minded? I think progressive, open-minded, forward-looking, not pining for a golden age, not grieving for a time gone by. I hope that means the best is yet to come. I hope it doesn't mean we got ours, that's what we live for, getting ours. And I hope it includes what do we leave our kids and your kids and their kids. Opportunity. That's what was left to us. And we did what we could with it, and hope those after us will too. Where does spirituality fit in? We would answer that in our own way, reflecting what we have experienced in the past. To me, spirituality is a lot about pausing, looking inward and questioning, pausing. What am I living for? Do things mean more to me than I ever wanted them to mean? Do the people that I want to know, do they know that I care about them? Religion might bring that stuff up, hopefully it does, and makes me pause. Poetry definitely does. To thine own self be true. To see ourselves as others see us. And that mariner and albatross. Who are you to call a creation of the divine or a creature of nature ugly? And nature that makes you look, makes you pause, even though you've seen it countless times. Last week I told you about the ducks who sustained me when I got you only on Zoom once a week, and I got them twice a day in person. In our small patio now, we are entertained by rabbits and cranes. We aren't allowed to put any food out, or I would you know what. I like the way Whitehead put it, religion is what you do in your solitary. We all had a god-awful time of solitary, and we had to hang on. So the pandemic taught us we need that inner well. The pandemic also taught us we need community, each other. We need to gather and be around like-minded, kindred spirits who agree to disagree. We need to laugh together and we need to mourn together. Doing that in solitary, laughing and mourning, robbed us of something spiritual. So spiritual and social aren't at odds. In community, we get to remind each other, pay attention to your inner well, because it's got to be part of your inner wellness, attention and location. Now, our closing hymn is number 13, and I think I'll suggest that we remain seated and that we read it thoughtfully together. Number 13. It's called Songs of Spirit. Songs of spirit, like a prayer breathing in the ambient air, singing in the morning light, in the radiance of the day, in the twilight shadows gray, in the brooding hush of night, dark or light, or storm or fair, singing, singing everywhere. In the burgeoning of spring, in the summer agent's bloom, in the autumn's mellow glow, in the winter's glow, shade or shine or joy and gloom, as the seasons come and go, bleak and bare or blossoming, still the songs that sing and sing, singing, singing everywhere, at the heart of everything. In my soul I hear them sing, mystic music of the spheres, songs that with my utmost art I can only catch in part, broken echoes, cold and bare, of the songs my spirit hears. And the closing from the back of the hymnal. Hold that thought. I've got to make sure I'm not doing a repeat. Not that we don't all do that a lot. All right, I got this mixed up. Thank you for your patience. I'm reading this from Nancy Wood, the back of the hymnal. My help is in the mountain. My help is in the mountain where I take myself to heal the earthly wounds that people give to me. I find a rock with sun on it and a stream where the water runs gentle, and the trees which one by one give me company. So I must stay for a long time until I have grown from the rock, and the stream is running through me, and I cannot tell myself from one tall tree. Then I know that nothing touches me, nor makes me run away. My help is in the mountain that I take away with me. Nancy Wood. Remember, after the postlude, we'll adjourn to the other room for the congregational meeting.
Our friend Gail McCarthy asked me to give you greetings and to play one for you, because I've been seeing her a lot in her isolation. So here's J.S. Bach, which she loves.